While the San Diego Unified Superintendent says the district removed a letter from the president from bags of food being distributed to families. Just hours away from the vice presidential debate, but both sides already trading blows, how tonight's proceedings could change following the outbreak at the White House. And a new project at the border nearing completion that officials say should help improve wait times and pollution at the crossings. ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
And welcome. Great to have you with us on this midday. I'm Jim Patton, joined remotely by my co-anchor Virginia Cha and 10 News meteorologist Megan Perry. Always great to see you too, and we will be with you very shortly. San Diego Unified School District's decision to remove a letter from President Trump from school lunches is getting a lot of reaction on social media. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell has more on what led up to the district's decision.
The San Diego Unified School District sent out a news release informing the public about their decision to pull President Trump's letter from food boxes, saying it ignores the state mandate.
With your help, in just 3 months, we've delivered over 1 billion pounds of food, providing more than 100 million meals to Americans most in need.
In this video tweeted out last month from the official White House Twitter account, President Trump gave an update about the Family's Food Box program and announced more federal funding was on the way. Some of those food boxes went to the San Diego Unified Food and Nutrition Services Department. Tuesday night, San Diego Unified School District Superintendent Cindy Martin sent this news release out, saying she had asked staff to remove a letter from President Trump that was included in these boxes. Martin says the letter, which is seen here in a Politico article, misleads families as it suggests masks are optional, which they are not in California schools. Martin says the letter says families should consider wearing a facial covering. In the news release, Martin is quoted as saying, quote, "Science is clear. Wearing a mask works to prevent the spread of the coronavirus." The district's decision is getting a lot of reaction on social media. There are already hundreds of comments on our ABC 10 News Facebook page. Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
Now, your voice, your vote. Final preparations underway for the first and only debate between Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris. Pence says he's ready for the challenge.
And we're looking very much forward to the vice presidential debate. The stakes in this election have never been higher.
Harris told Hillary Clinton on her podcast what she plans to focus on tonight.
I guess the biggest thing, just to be candid with you, is to be prepared for what is, I think, very likely to be a series of untruths.
Pence and Harris expected to clash over the country's handling of the coronavirus pandemic. The debate will also be a little different after President Trump's diagnosis. Though Pence announced another negative coronavirus test this morning, the Biden campaign is insisting Harris stand 12 feet away from Pence with a plexiglass barrier between them. Pence doesn't think that's necessary. Now, you can watch the debate tonight, 6 p.m. right here on ABC 10. It will be followed by a special edition of ABC 10 News at 8 o'clock. And later this hour, we are going to talk to a political scientist about some of the stakes involved in tonight's debate. Meanwhile, the next presidential debate is up in the air following the outbreak at the White House. Earlier this morning, the White House put out a press release describing the president as symptom-free. They also say he has detectable levels of antibodies. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has more on the situation and the latest White House aide to test positive.
At least 24 people who've been near President Trump or the White House in recent days now have COVID. Top aide Stephen Miller, the latest to test positive. He's among 6 out of 9 people who attended a debate prep session for the president last Monday who are now infected. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who was also at that session and is now infected, says no one wore masks or socially distanced at the debate prep. A similar scene to what took place in the White House Rose Garden for the nomination ceremony for Judge Amy Coney Barrett, which now appears to have been a super spreader event. Yet amid the COVID outbreak at the White House, President Trump continuing to challenge his own administration's health protocols. A spokesperson saying he wants to work out of the Oval Office. The CDC guidelines say he should be isolating for at least 10 days from his first symptoms and at least 24 hours after his fever is gone.
His schedule right now is fluid. We're looking at his prognosis from a health standpoint. He wanted to go to the Oval yesterday. If he decides to go to the Oval, we've got safety protocols there.
President Trump has not made any public appearances since arriving back from the hospital, but he has been very busy on Twitter. Trump tweeted he will be at next week's presidential debate with Joe Biden in Miami. Biden saying that if Trump still has COVID, there shouldn't be a debate. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
This is new today. Derek Chauvin, one of the officers charged in the death of George Floyd, has been released on bail in Minnesota. Chauvin facing murder charges after he knelt on Floyd's neck during an arrest for several minutes before Floyd was eventually pronounced dead. Chauvin posted bail today. It was set at $1 million. His trial is set to begin in the spring, although it still has not been decided whether it will be relocated. San Diego once again steering clear of being demoted on the state's tiered restriction system. But if our county wants to reopen more businesses than it already has, the state says it needs to meet a new set of metrics. So the state guidelines break up county populations into different levels based on things like income or education, all based on the census. Now, if the disparity in cases between those groups that are lower or higher on the ladder is too great, low income versus higher income, for example, the county won't meet the state standard. Health officials say this is designed to address inequities that have arisen during this pandemic. Advocates hope this helps.
Our communities of color are still seeing a disproportionate impact from COVID-19, then it is something that should affect the entire region.
Not meeting these metrics won't move San Diego back, but it could slow the reopening process. Jim?
Now, this morning, Virginia, the next step in the discussions to turn a pair of hotels into permanent housing for the homeless. City is exploring a plan to use millions of dollars in grants to purchase hotels in Kearny Mesa and Hotel Circle. If approved, they'd start by moving people that have been staying in the convention center into the hundreds of rooms provided by the hotels. Since the pandemic shut down the convention center, it's been turned into a homeless shelter, but officials want it to reopen by next year. The Livable Neighborhoods Committee is discussing the plan before it can go to the council for a vote. Well, Caltrans and Sandag choosing California Clean Air Day to show off a construction milestone at the port of entry in Otay Mesa. ABC 10 News anchor Mary McKenzie explains their joint efforts to improve traffic, border wait times, and air quality.
You're seeing the paving of the final stretch of State Route 11 happening through the fog Wednesday at the Otay Mesa East port of entry. This is the last 1.2 miles of the future toll road SR 11, part of the massive port of entry project designed to improve wait times at the border, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and improve traffic and air quality overall throughout the area.
It helps the environment, it helps the economy, it brings jobs to the region. It just positions San Diego in a great way from a holistic point of view.
Caltrans Corridor Director Mario Orso showed us where crews are paving hot mix asphalt over current dirt and gravel roadways on California Clean Air Day. Orso says when the port is completed, estimated late 2024, they'll be able to monitor air quality and wait times in real time, which will be crucial as nearly $50 billion in bilateral trade with Mexico is only expected to grow in the coming years. Sandag estimates 90% of that trade between California and Mexico is moved by truck. Another big improvement is something called the Diverging Diamond Interchange, seen here, a mostly European innovation which is designed to move both car and truck traffic more quickly through a major interchange with drastic improvements to safety and wait times. Orso says Mexico recently announced this project is of highest priority on that side of the border as well. Mary McKenzie, ABC 10 News.
And in celebration of Clean Air Day, today MTS launching several electric buses at transit centers. The MTS Board of Directors recently approved a draft plan to transition the entire bus fleet to zero-emission vehicles over the next 20 years. So these new buses are all zero-emission vehicles, expected to reduce the agency's greenhouse gas emissions by an additional 43%. Well, straight ahead, multiple women rescued overnight after taking a scary fall over the border wall. And the pandemic derailing the end of some high school athletes' careers, The push by some parents to get administrators to give their children another shot.
And today is the last day of above normal temperatures. I'm pinpointing the fall weather will start to feel tomorrow.
Overnight, 2 women fell dozens of feet after trying to climb the border wall near Otay Mesa. Our 10 News breaking news tracker had the only camera there as the women arrived at UCSD Medical Center. Now, firefighters say they fell from the top of the wall and landed in a ravine. Both had to be rescued, suffering serious injuries. 3 more people were later rescued nearby. It's unclear if they too were taken to a hospital. Right now, Cancun bracing for Category 2 Hurricane Delta. Tourists in Cancun are being forced to evacuate from their hotels as landfall is expected early this morning.
Trying to leave because of the hurricane. We're just trying to get out of here.
Storm reached the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico overnight. It's expected to strengthen in the Caribbean and take aim at the northern Gulf of Mexico. People from Louisiana to the Florida Panhandle are preparing for impacts this weekend.
Some new developments in the shooting that sparked mass protests in Kenosha, Wisconsin and beyond. Attorneys for Jacob Blake say he has left the hospital and has begun physical rehab. Blake was shot in the back by police in August. Now, the shooting, which is under investigation by state and federal agencies, reportedly left Blake paralyzed. He is undergoing rehab on his spine in Chicago, but his attorneys won't say more than that or whether Blake will be able to walk. As you know, the pandemic has forced the cancellation of many high school sports. Well, now some high school parents and students are lobbying for an extra year of athletic eligibility. The Principals Association in Maine, for example, is discussing the possibilities.
Go to the college model and they just think about redshirt years and instantly think that that's something that we're going to implement because, you know, kids have lost a season, so automatically they should get another one, and they don't think about the educational piece of it.
The principals have decided to keep the current rules in place, but have also agreed to look at exceptions on a case-by-case basis. Old Town, known for its quaint and unique shops, is starting to get somewhat back to normal, and that is giving business owners some hope. In our ongoing Rebound series focused on ways businesses are getting back on their feet, ABC 10 News reporter Vanessa Paz spoke to a coffee shop owner at the historic park, opening for the first time since March.
Chris DeFoya may have skipped an entire season of providing locals, tourists, their morning pickup. But what better season than fall for a comeback when it comes to selling hot beverages?
Old Town looks normal again on the weekends, believe it or not. Parking's hard to find, which is encouraging for us.
His tiny shop, Coffee House Old Town, nestled in the historic district, has been closed for nearly half a year, surviving similar to many through online sales.
We tried to do the curbside pickup just for like the bulk items. We definitely invested a lot more money in apps and stuff like that to help the website function properly.
Now ready to pivot from virtual interactions to real ones.
We're going to do kind of like a walk by. They can walk to the front of the store, order there through the Old Town window, through one of those old-fashioned windows. So it kind of be kind of cool. And then if they wanted to buy bulk, they can just walk in.
They'll start slow, open only on weekends at first, but
if business picks up, for sure, we're ready to go.
And if you know Old Town, you know most of these shops, restaurants have that mom and pop feel.
And all mom and pop businesses by nature are kind of stubborn anyways. So I think if we can pull through, we will pull through.
And his business was no exception amid the COVID crisis.
We filed unemployment like everybody else and have been living on that. We're hopeful, obviously. We're reopening. I know a lot of businesses didn't reopen.
Vanessa Paz, ABC 10 News.